What's good? It's your boy Fanon. All right. Epic interview with Deontay Wilder on Behind the Gloves. I'm sure a lot of people have seen it by now. If you've not, definitely check out Behind the Gloves with Michelle Joy Phelps having interviewed Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder goes in. And Eddie Hearn responds. And I think it was in response to Michael Benson's tweet where they took a little excerpt, from the interview. And Deontay Wilder, man, I'm trying to tell you, man, I like that dude. I like that guy. I like him as a person. I think that he's probably just one of the most forthright individuals in sports. I mean, you can like him, you can dislike him, but it's really hard to get a feel off of him at being a dishonest guy. And you can say what you want about his form, his opposition, or whatever, because really this video is not for you, AJ, those specific type of Anthony Joshua fans that are just gonna ride with Anthony Joshua no matter what. Deontay Wilder put him on just absolute major blast, and it's such a situation. I mean, it was so obvious the truth of what Deontay Wilder is saying that you really have to be on something to believe that Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn are the ones that are trying to make this bout. It's just not, it's not feasible. It's not feasible to believe that. But I'm just going to talk about, a few things that he said. I definitely want you to go and get check out the interview. He talked about Anthony Joshua saying pretty much what I thought about it is that Anthony Joshua's not running his own business. Anthony Joshua's not making any more public statements about Deontay Wilder. And Eddie Hearn has put him in an ice box and told him to be quiet and stop running his mouth and acting like he wants to do what he wants to do because it ain't his doggone decision. At least that's my, I'm putting some mustard on it, but that's my opinion on the matter. And then Deontay Wilder also said that he went to the He said that he went to the Hall of Fame, and you remember, I can't remember when the visit was that he went to the Hall of Fame, but he said he visited the Hall of Fame. He's talking to Hall of Famers, and Hall of Fame boxers are saying, "What? How he turned down $50 million? How in the world do you turn down $50 million?" And he talks about hearing, and this is the same experience that I've been having. Hearing from people from the UK that are saying, look, I can't even, I was an Anthony Joshua fan, but I can't stand behind this. It's obvious what the deal is. And I've always said that I really had a lot of appreciation for UK boxing fans. And, when this whole conversation started with Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua being inundated by all of these, I guess I have to go with what some people with blood calls them snooker and dart fans because they're clearly not boxing fans. But Deontay Wilder said something that a couple things I wanted to talk about specifically. Now, he also implied that he had heard things about Anthony Joshua trying to get off those PEDs. Now, I've heard that from other people that have come to my page and saying, look, Fanon, one of the major reasons why they're trying to hold this off is he's trying to cycle off. And you can see that he had a 12-pound weight loss for the bout from from Carlos Takam to Joseph Parker. And he's anxious to get in there with the guy that has had multiple PED infractions, at least 3 of them. 3 times he's been caught. Alexander Povetkin has been caught with something in his system that operates as a performance enhancing as a PED. So wanted to talk about what Michael Benson quoted, a portion that Michael Benson quoted, and then I do believe Eddie Hearn might have responded directly to Michael Benson. But he said, Wilder, Eddie Hearn is a manipulator, a contradictor, a compulsive liar. If anybody can't identify a snake, that's the one you practice on. All the things they put me through, can't wait. I'm gonna take Eddie's head and stick it on Joshua's body. And then Eddie Hearn responds, apart from that, does he like me? No, this is what I'm saying about Eddie Hearn, man. Eddie Hearn, I think he's ruined himself in the United States. I think that the way that they've gone about this, entering into the United States market, was about as ham-handed as you could possibly have gotten. I can't imagine. I'm just thinking of all of the enemies that Eddie Hearn has made since he came to the United States. You have people like, just yesterday, Steven Espinoza, who's about as straight down the middle type of guy as you can possibly get, responded to a statement that Eddie Hearn made and said, man, what promoter or platform wouldn't care about promoting or the rights to Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder? Right? You've got Al Heyman and the things that he said about Al Heyman in the past. You've got I should have turned my phone off, forgive me. All right, you've got boxers clowning him. You got boxers clowning him. You have promoters upset with him, like Lou DiBella. You have fans, avid boxing fans on the daily, pointing out obvious stories this guy is telling. He comes in and completely disrespects the American heavyweight champion. And he puts Anthony Joshua in a situation. And this is the main thing the dude's done. And what I really, really feel for Deontay Wilder on. He made Anthony Joshua turn down $50 million for a boxing match. Turned down $50 million for a boxing match with the excuse that he wants to fight in front. He wants to have the match in front of his hometown fans because they deserve it. That is the weakest, without a doubt. That is the weakest argument for turning down your $50 million. You don't even have to use the multipliers and all that stuff. You don't have to use the multipliers. Say 2 times, 3 times. It's $50 million. It's 3/4. It's 2/3 of all the money that Muhammad Ali had ever earned in his entire career. And he's going to turn that down when his sole purpose is as a boxer is to secure enough money so where he can decide whether or not he wants to fight or not. Because like Deontay Wilder said, there's only a finite amount of time that you can get into a boxing ring. And I love what Deontay Wilder said, and I think this is true. Anthony Joshua is ripe for the picking, man. Anthony Joshua is ripe for the picking. Because you cannot tell him he's going to encouraging every competitor that gets in the ring with him. When they look at that and they say, "Man, this dude turned out $50 million so he could fight a new known juicer." I mean, just on the he doesn't want to get to with Deontay Wilder side of it is one thing, but then since Deontay Wilder, put it out there, I'll roll with it. He also stayed away from the WBC, who is the organization that has been catching people in these PED, their PED testing, the VADA, the WBC clean boxing program. They're the ones that have been catching most of the people. And he's staying away from there. And Eddie Hearn is pushing Dillian White in that direction. He's also doing Dillian White, and now he's talking up a potential rematch between Anthony Joshua and Dillian White. He's got Alexander Povetkin, right? He wants, according to Deontay Wilder, and this is an interview that came out yesterday, and I have to believe that Deontay Wilder knows what's going on in the negotiations as well as anybody else, seeing as he's the guy that could, when he was on the Boxing Voice, immediately called Shelly Finkel and got Shelly Finkel to confirm what Shelly Finkel had told Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder seems to be, first of all, Deontay Wilder is a very bright guy. He's a very bright guy with a very active mind who's very interested in being his own boss and calling his shots in for his life. And that is without a doubt a personality characteristic of his. This whole conversation, all these conversations going back and forth, there's been two people that have been doing the talking. The vast majority of the talking. It's Eddie Hearn and it's Deontay Wilder. So I know, and at least I have to believe that Deontay Wilder knows what's going on in these discussions. But man, at the end of the day, there's no way for you to get out of the fact that, and this is what I would, for Deontay Wilder, what would infuriate me if I was in the shoes of Deontay Wilder. Not only do you want to get into a ring and fight Anthony Joshua, right? Because you want to be the champion, you want to win. But a boxing match is a partnership it is a venture where it's a partnership between two boxers. Where boxer A says, hey, they say, let's get together and let's have a boxing match in this arena. We're going to televise it on this show, on this network, and we're going to charge this amount of money for tickets. We're going to charge this much money for the pay-per-view, and you and I we're going to get together to generate this much money. A boxing match in and of itself really is a partnership. It might be just for a specific venture, but it's a partnership between the two boxers. And when Deontay Wilder says, what you want is $50 million? Oh man, I can get that. My manager found some investors that are willing to front the money. Man, dude, you and me, we can split $100 million. Let's get together. Let's do this in Vegas. We'll have pay-per-view and we both do mutual rematch clauses. And it really doesn't matter who wins inside the ring because we both win outside of it because we're both going to walk away we could both walk away with $70 million. We can make $70 million, you and me, in a partnership in this event. And you have the person you're trying to partner with come back to you and say, no, I don't want to do that. I want to do it in my back. I want to do it over here. And I'm okay with not making as much money. I don't want the $70 million. I'm okay with $20 million. I don't want it. I mean, because I really want all my friends and family to be there. I think I've deserved that. I've been training. I've had a lot of fights. So, I really think that everybody would be real happy if we just had it over here. But Anthony, come on, man. We're going to wind up leaving $60 million on the table. You can retire. I can retire. We've all made it. Your kids can eat. Your mama that you live with, you can buy her a whole new house in the back. I know you got money. I got money too, but dang, we got to get this money while the getting's good. And Eddie Hearn steps up there and says, nope, he is not allowed to play. Anthony Joshua has to go back in his house, shut up, and he's going to do what I say because I'm not making any money. Well, how about this, Deontay? How about you sign with me? And how about you sign and do a promotional deal with me? And then maybe we can talk about, I'll figure out what fights I'm going to put you in and give you an opportunity to work for me. Nah, I don't think you can do that. If you want to do that, if we're going to do that situation, you got to come work for me. And I'll pay you something after I collect the money. I mean, that's the way that I visualize. That's the way that I think of it. And if I was Deontay Wilder, I would be ticked at Deontay Wilder. I mean, if I was Deontay Wilder, I'd be ticked at Anthony Joshua. Absolutely. Because it's ridiculous. There is no heavyweight champ. There's only one boxer ever that would turn that down. And that's Floyd Mayweather Jr. because but Floyd Mayweather Jr. would have never turned down a $50 million bout until he had already had several $100 million bouts. Eddie, there's no way in the world when Floyd Mayweather Jr. was making $15 million a bout, because I think, what was that? The Showtime deal was like 6 fights, $200 million, something like that. So he might have been making like 35 million about, right? From I think it might have been a 6-fight deal or a 7-fight deal for Showtime. I can't remember how many fights that on, but it came out to around $30 million or whatever, 30 guaranteed, right? There ain't no way in the world he would have turned down 50 million right before he made that deal, when he was still making whatever he was making over there on Showtime. I mean, on HBO. I mean, it's just foolishness, man. So, it is what it is. I'm not very I'm not very encouraged that this boxing match is going to happen. And on the real, there's no way that you can look at this and not think Anthony Joshua's a fraud. But it was nice listening to Deontay Wilder, give his side, give his share his side of the story again. But like Deontay Wilder said, everybody knows what the deal is. There is very, very few people are buying this line of nonsense that's coming from Eddie Hearn. Even on my channel, I used to get a bunch of messages coming from people over whenever I'd make a video saying Anthony Joshua doesn't want this bout, and that has just slowed to a trickle. It's slowed to a trickle, and then all they say is, I don't believe that all they say is Deontay Wilder's a bum. Deontay Wilder's a bum. Just sign the contract. They don't talk about him. They don't know what they're talking about. But anyway, it is what it is. And with that, I'm out. Peace.